Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well. Today I'll be reading part 2 of The One and Only Ivan. This will be pages 34 through 66, so if you're following along in your own book, that's where you start. If you have not heard or read part 1, you can go to my previous video and you can listen to that to get caught up on what happened. This video will look a little bit different in the sense that I'm not going to read directly to the camera. I'm just going to insert a picture of the book cover and then you'll just hear my voice throughout the story. And as always, at the end of this video, I will have a couple of questions for you to either think about, respond in the comments, or talk to someone at home about your thoughts on the story and think a little bit deeper about it. Hope you guys enjoy. I explain my plan to Bob. "Ivan," he says, "trust me on this one. The problem is not your appetite." He hops onto my chest and licks my chin, checking for leftovers. Bob is a stray, which means he does not have a permanent address. He's so speedy, so wily, that mall workers long ago gave up trying to catch him. Bob can sneak into cracks and crevices like a tracked rat. He lives well off the ends of hot dogs he pulls from the trash. For dessert, he laps up spilled lemonade and splattered ice cream cones. I've tried to share my food with Bob, but he is a picky eater and says he prefers to hunt for himself. Bob is tiny, wiry, and fast, like a barking squirrel. He is nut-colored and big-eared. His tail moves like weeds in the wind, spiraling, dancing. Bob's tail makes me dizzy and confused. It has meanings within meanings, like human words. "I am sad," it says. "I am happy," it says. "Beware, I may be tiny, but my teeth are sharp." Gorillas don't have any use for tails. Our feelings are uncomplicated. Our rumps are unadorned. Bob used to have 3 brothers and 2 sisters. Humans tossed them out of a truck onto the freeway where they were a few weeks old. Bob rolled into a ditch. The others did not. His first night on the highway, Bob slept in the icy mud of the ditch. When he woke, he was so cold that his legs would not bend for an hour. The next night, Bob slept under some dirty hay near the Big Top Mall garage bins. The following night, Bob found the spot on the corner of my domain where the glass is broken. I dreamed that I'd eaten the furry donut, and when I woke in the dark, I discovered a tiny puppy snoring on top of my belly. It had been so long since I felt the comfort of another's warmth that I wasn't sure what to do. Not that I had any visitors. Mac had been in my domain, of course, and many other keepers. I'd seen my share of rats zip past, and the occasional wayward sparrow had fluttered in through the hole in my ceiling. But they never stayed long. I didn't move all night for the fear of waking Bob. Once I asked Bob why he didn't want a home. Humans, I'd noticed, seemed to be irrationally fond of dogs, and I could see why a puppy would be easier to cuddle with than, say, a gorilla. "Everywhere is my home," Bob answered. "I'm a wild beast, my friend, untamed and undaunted." I told Bob he could work in the shows like Snickers, the poodle who rides Stella. Bob said Snickers sleeps on a pink pillow in Mac's office. He said she eats foul-smelling meat from a can. He made a face. His lips curled, revealing tiny needles of teeth. "Poodles," he said, "are parasites." Matt gives me a fresh crayon, a yellow one, and 10 pieces of paper. "Time to earn your keep, Picasso," he mutters. I wonder who this Picasso is. Does he have a tire swing like me? Does he ever eat his crayons? I know I've lost my magic, so I try my very best. I clutch the crayon and think. I scan my domain. What is yellow? A banana? I draw a banana. The paper tears, but only a little. I lean back, and Mac picks up the drawing. "Another day, another scribble," he says. "One down, 9 to go." What else is yellow? I wonder, scanning my domain. I draw another banana, and then I draw 8 more. 3 visitors are here. A woman, a boy, a girl. I strut across my domain from them. I dangle from my tire swing. I eat 3 banana peels in a row. The boy spits at my window. The girl throws a handful of pebbles. Sometimes I'm glad the glass is there. After the show, the Spit Pebble children come back. I display my impressive teeth. I splash in my filthy pool. I grunt and hoot. I eat and eat and eat some more. The children pound their pathetic chests. They toss more pebbles. Slimy chimps, I mutter. I throw a me-ball at them. Sometimes I wish the glass were not there. I'm sorry I called those children slimy chimps. My mother would be ashamed of me. Like the Spit Pebble children, Julia is a child, but that, after all, is not her fault. While her father George cleans the mall each night, Julia sits by my domain. She can sit anywhere she wants, by the carousel, in the empty food court, on the bleachers coated in sawdust, but I am not bragging when I say that she always chooses to sit with me. I think it's because we both love to draw. Sarah, Julia's mother, used to help clean the mall, but when she got sick and grew pale and stooped, Sarah stopped coming. Every night, Julia offers to help George, and every night he says firmly, "Homework, Julia. The floors will just get dirty again." Homework, I have discovered, involves a sharp pencil and thick books and long sighs. I enjoy chewing pencils. I am sure I would excel at homework. Sometimes Julia dozes off, and sometimes she reads her books, but mostly she draws pictures and talks about her day. Sometimes Julia... I don't know why people talk to me, but they often do. Perhaps it's because they think I can't understand them. Or perhaps it's because I can't talk back. Julia likes science and art. She doesn't like Lila Burpee, who teases her because her clothes are old, and she does like Deshaun Williams, who teases her too. But in a nice way, and she would like to be a famous artist when she grows up. Sometimes Julia draws me. I am an elegant fellow in her pictures, with my silver back gleaming like moon on moss. I never look angry the way I do on the fading billboard by the highway. I always look a bit sad, though. I love Julia's pictures of Bob. She draws him flying across the page, a blur of feet and fur. She draws him motionless, peeking out from behind the trash can or the soft hill of my belly. Sometimes in her drawings, Julia gives Bob's wings or a lion's mane. Once she gave him a tortoise shell. But the best thing she ever gave him wasn't a drawing. Julia gave Bob his name. For a long time, no one knew what to call Bob. Now and then a mall worker would try to approach him with a tidbit. "Here, doggy," they'd call, holding out a french fry. "Come on, Pooch," they'd say. "How about a little piece of sandwich?" But he'd always vanish into the shadows before anyone could get too close. One afternoon, Julia decided to draw the little dog curled up in the corner of my domain. First, she watched him for a long time, chewing on her thumbnail. I could tell she was looking at him the way an artist looks at the world when she's trying to understand it. Finally, she grabbed her pencil and set to work. When she was finished, she held up the page. There he was, the tiny, big-eared dog. He was smart and cunning, but his gaze was wistful. Under the picture were 3 bold, confident marks, circled in black. I was pretty certain it was a word, even though I couldn't read it. Julia's father peered over her shoulder. "That's him exactly," he said, nodding. He pointed to the circle marks. "I didn't realize his name was Bob," he said. "Me either," said Julia. She smiled. "I had to draw him first." Bob will not let humans touch him. He says their scent upsets his digestion. But every now and then I see him sitting at Julia's feet. Her fingers move gently just behind his right ear. Usually Mac leaves after the last show, but tonight he's in his office working late. When he's done, he stops my domain and stares at me for a long time while he drinks from a brown bottle. George joins him, broom in hand, and Mac says the things he always says. "How about that game last night?" And "Business has been slow, but it'll get better, you see." And "Don't forget to empty the trash." Matt glances over at the picture Julia is drawing. "What are you making?" he asks. "It's for my mom," Julia says. "It's a flying dog." She holds up her drawing, eyeing it critically. She likes airplanes. And dogs. Mac murmurs, sounding unconvinced. He looks at George. "How's the wife doing anyway?" "About the same," George says. She has good days and bad days. Yeah, don't we all, Max says. Max starts to leave, then pauses. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out a crumpled green bill, and presses it in George's hand. Here, Max says with a shrug, buy the kids some more crayons. Mac is already out the door before George can yell, thanks! Stella, I say after Julia and her father go home. I can't sleep. Of course you can, she says. You are the king of sleepers. Shh, Bob says from his perch on my belly. I'm dreaming about chili fries. I'm tired, I say, but I'm not sleepy. Well, what are you tired of? Stella asks. I think for a while. It's hard to put into words. Gorillas are not complainers. We're dreamers. Poets, philosophers, nap takers. I don't know exactly. I kick at my tire swing. I think I may be a little tired of my domain. That's because it's a cage, Bob tells me. Bob is not always tactful. I know, Stella says. It's a very small domain. And you're a very big gorilla, Bob adds. Stella? I ask. Yes? I notice you were limping more than usual today. Is your leg bothering you? Just a little, Stella answers. I sigh. Bob resettles. His ears flick. He drools a bit, but I don't mind. I'm used to it. Try eating something, Stella says. That always makes you happy. I ate an old brown carrot. It doesn't help, but I don't tell Stella. She needs to sleep. You could try remembering a good day, Stella suggests. That's what I do when I can't sleep. Stella remembers every moment since she was born. Every scent, every sunset, every slight, every victory. You know, I can't remember much, I say. There's a difference, Stella says gently, between can't remember and won't remember. Memories are precious, Stella adds. They help tell us who we are. Try remembering all your keepers. You always liked Carl, the one with the harmonica. Carl, yes, I remember how he gave me a coconut when I was just a juvenile. It took me all day to open it. I try to recall other keepers I have known, the humans who have cleaned my domain and prepared my food and sometimes kept me company. There is Juan, who poured Pepsis into my waiting mouth, and Katrina, who used to poke me with a broom when I was sleeping, and Ellen, who sang, How munches that monkey in the window, with a sad smile while she scrubbed my water bowl. And then there was Gerald, who once bought me a box of fat, sweet strawberries. Gerald was my favorite keeper. I haven't had a real keeper in a long time. Max says he doesn't have the money to pay for an ape babysitter. These days, George cleans my cage and Mac is the one who feeds me. When I think about all the people who have taken care of me, mostly it's Mac I recall, day in and day out, year after year after year. Mac who brought me and raised me and says I'm no longer cute, as if a silverback could ever be cute. Moonlight falls on the frozen carousel, on the silent popcorn stand, on the stall of the leather belts that smell like long-gone cows. The heavy work of Stella's breathing sounds like the wind in trees, and I wait for sleep to find me. Matt gives me a new black crayon and a fresh pile of paper. It's time to work again. I smell the crayon rolled in my hands and press the sharp point against my palm. There's nothing I love more than a new crayon. I search my domain for something to draw. What is black? An old banana peel would work, but I've eaten them all. Knot tag is brown. My little pool is blue. The yogurt raisin I'm saving for this afternoon is white, at least on the outside. Something moves in the corner. I have a visitor! A shiny beetle has stopped by. Bugs often wander through my domain on their way to somewhere else. Hello, beetle, I say. He freezes, silent. Bugs never want to chat. The beetle's an attractive bug, with a body like a glossy nut. He's black as a starless night. That's it. I'll draw him. It's hard making a picture of something new. I don't get that chance often. But I try. I look at the beetle who's being kind enough not to move, then back on my paper. I draw his body, his legs, his little antenna, and his sour expression. I'm lucky. The beetle stays all day. Usually bugs don't linger when they visit. I'm beginning to wonder if he's feeling all right. Bob, who's been known to munch on bugs from time to time, offers to eat him. I tell Bob that won't be necessary. I'm just finishing the last picture when Mac returns. George and Julia are with him. Mac enters my domain and picks up a drawing. "What the heck is this?" he asks. Beats me what Ivan thinks he's drawing. This is a picture of nothing, a big black nothing. Julia is standing just outside my domain. "Can I see?" she asks. Mac holds my picture up to the window. Julia tilts her head, she squeezes one eye shut, then she opens her eyes and scans my domain. "I know," she exclaims. "It's a beetle. See that beetle over there by Ivan's pool?" "Man, I just sprayed this place for bugs." Mac walks over to the beetle and lifts his foot. Before Mac can stomp, the beetle skitters away, disappearing through a crack on the wall. Mac turns back to my drawings. "So, you figure this is a beetle, huh?" "If you say so, kid." "Oh, that's a beetle for sure," Julia says, smiling at me. "I know a beetle when I see one." It's nice, I think, having a fellow artist around. Stella is the first to notice the change, but soon we all feel it. A new animal is coming to the Big Top Mall. How do we know this? Because we listen, we watch, and most of all, we sniff the air. Humans always smell odd when change is in the air, like rotten meat with a hint of papaya. Bob fears our new neighbor will be a giant cat with slitted eyes and a coiled tail, but Stella says a truck will arrive this afternoon carrying a baby elephant. "How do you know?" I ask. I sample the air, but all I can smell is caramel corn. I love caramel corn. "I can hear her," Stella says. "She's crying for her mother." I listen. I hear the cars charging past. I hear the snore of the sun bears in their wire domain. But I don't hear any elephants. "You're just hoping," I say. Stella closes her eyes. "No," she says softly, "not hoping at all." My TV is off, so while we wait for the new neighbor, I ask Stella to tell us a story. Stella rubs her right foot against the wall. Her foot is swollen again, an ugly, deep red. "If you're not feeling well, Stella," I say, "you could take a nap and tell us the story later." "I'm fine," she says, and she carefully shifts her weight. "Tell us a Jumbo story," I say. "It's a favorite of mine, but I don't think Bob has ever heard it." Because she remembers everything, Stella knows many stories. I like colorful tales, with black beginnings and stormy middles and cloudless blue sky endings, but any story will do. I'm not in a position to be picky. "Once upon a time," Stella begins, "there was a human boy. He was visiting a gorilla family at a place called a zoo." "What's a zoo?" Bob asks. He's a street-smart dog, but there's not much he hasn't seen. "A good zoo," Stella says, "is a large domain, a wild cage, a safe place to be. It has room to roam and humans who don't hurt." She pauses, considering her words. "A good zoo is how humans make amends." Stella moves a bit, groaning softly. "The boy stood on a wall," she continues, "watching and pointing, but he lost his balance and fell into the wild cage." "Humans are clumsy," I interrupt. "If only they would knuckle walk, they wouldn't topple so often." Stella nods. "A good point, Ivan. In any case, the boy lay in a motionless heap while the humans gasped and cried. The silverback, whose name was Jumbo, examined the boy, as well as his duty, while his troop watched from a safe distance. Jumbo stroked the child gently. He smelled the boy's pain, and then he stood watch. When the boy awoke, his humans cried out, 'Stay still! Don't move!' because they were certain, humans are always certain about things, that Jumbo would crush the boy's life from him. The boy moaned. The crowd waited and hushed, expecting the worst. Jumbo led his troop away. Men came down on ropes and whisked the child to waiting arms. Was the boy all right? Bob asked. He wasn't hurt, Stella says, although I wouldn't be surprised if his parents hugged him many times that night, in between their scoldings. Bob, who's been chewing his tail, pauses, tilting his head. Is that a true story? I always tell the truth, Stella replies, although I sometimes confuse the facts. And here are your two answers that you can either write in the comments or talk to a family member or a friend about. The first one is Ivan notes that he looks angry in the faded billboard picture compared to the pictures that Julia draws where he looks very sad. Based on what you have read so far, is Ivan an angry gorilla or is he a sad gorilla? And I want you to give me some evidence. And then the second question is that Stella notes that memories are precious and that they help tell us who we are. Do you agree or do you disagree? And also give me some evidence. Alright guys, I will try and post part 3 very soon. I hope you all are doing well and I hope you're enjoying the book so far.